I stood at the edge of my ranch, fists balled so tight my knuckles whitened, staring at a monstrous iron fence that now caged my entire vegetable garden, my chicken coop, and my 2 goats. A gleaming brass padlock mocked me from a heavy chain looped around the gate. I yanked at it, but it didn't budge. My crops were out of reach, my animals unfed, and the culprits? The homeowners association, those self-appointed overlords of the countryside. I shouted into the empty pasture, "Who the hell authorized this?" My voice bounced off the hills, answered only by the frantic clucking of hens and the desperate bleat of my goat, Bella. The truth hit like a sledgehammer. They'd locked me out of my own land, and they held the only key. Fury surged through me. This wasn't just a fancy, it was a declaration of war. Right then, I swore I'd buy the land that gate stood on and make damn sure I'd be the one holding the key. 3 months earlier, life was simpler. I'm Jack Ramsey, a 41-year-old ex-firefighter who traded city sirens for the quiet of Willow Bend Valley. After retiring, I bought a modest ranch, not sprawling, but enough for me, my animals, and my crops. I had 2 goats, Bella and Scout, a dozen hens, and 3 alpacas named Sage, Clover, and Misty. My garden boasted tomatoes, zucchini, corn, and a strawberry patch that drew every kid in the county. It wasn't much, but it was mine, a haven of peace. Then the HOA stormed in like a plague. I didn't even know an HOA existed until Karen Walsh, a tight-lipped woman in her 50s with a clipboard welded to her hand, showed up at my door. She was the president of the newly formed Willow Bend Estates HOA, her heels sinking into my dirt driveway as she handed me a rulebook thicker than a Bible. "Mr. Ramsey," she said, her smile as fake as her pearls, "we're bringing order to the region. New developments mean new standards." I laughed. "This is a farm, lady. My goat's eating a hubcap out back." She didn't flinch, just pushed the rulebook at me, claiming I was grandfathered in without signing a thing. I thought she was joking. Surely they'd see a ranch didn't fit their suburban fantasy. I was wrong. It started small. They banned my rooster for excessive noise. Then my scarecrow got a violation notice for visual noncompliance. When I ignored them, a $100 fine landed in my mailbox. Karen wasn't alone. Her enforcer, Victor Malone, a former rent-a-cop with a black SUV and a Napoleon complex, started circling my property. I caught him snapping photos of my goats once, but I held my ground, refusing to pay. Then came the fancy welded, iron monstrosity cutting off half my land. My tomatoes, hens, and alpacas were trapped behind it, a red sign screaming, "Private area. HOA restricted zone." I nearly collapsed from the audacity. Who fences off another man's land? I stormed the HOA office, a pretentious setup in an old bank. Karen sat at her desk, unfazed. "Jack, we had complaint wandering animals, substandard fencing, sanitation concerns." I slammed my fist on her desk. "You locked up my livelihood." She shrugged. "You ignored our notices. This is temporary until the board decides." The board. A faceless group meeting in a month, while my animals starved. I left fuming, but an idea sparked. At the county recorder's office, I dug into property records and found gold. The gate sat on a 12 by 40-foot strip lease by the HOA, expiring in 2 weeks. The owner, long dead, had left it to his nephew, who didn't even know the HOA was using it. I offered cash, no questions. He sold, with one condition: I got the only key to the old service gate. When he handed it to me, I felt the tide turning. But the next morning, chaos erupted. Sirens wailed as fire trucks and police swarmed my land. My crops were trampled, the fence sliced open, and Misty, my alpaca, was gone. Smoke curled from scorched soil, the air thick with burnt grass. A cop, sunglasses hiding his boredom, said neighbors reported a disturbance in a white pickup truck hauling an animal at dawn. My stomach churned. They'd broken their own fence, ruined my crops, and stolen Misty. I knew Karen or Victor was behind it, but proof was thin. I paced for hours, feeding Bella and Scout, but my mind was on Mr. Crooked Grin, her loyalty. I owed her more than worry. I acted fast. With the strip now mine, I changed the gate's lock and called my buddy Caleb, a welder with a heart bigger than his toolbox. He rolled up with steel and coffee, and we built a new gate that opened to my land, secured by my key. I bolted on signs, "Private property, trespassers prosecuted, and no HOA access." That night, I sat on my porch, Bella at my feet, feeling control return. At 8 a.m., Karen and Victor appeared, her fake smile cracking when I revealed I owned the strip. "I'd like my key back," she snapped. I dangled it, grinning. "This? It's mine now." They left, furious, but I knew they'd retaliate. 3 days later, a cease and desist letter demanded I remove my gate and return HOA property. Then, near the creek, I found a trench filled with torn bags of ammonium nitrate and herbicide, a deliberate attempt to poison my land or frame me for something worse. My hand shook as I snapped photos and called Sheriff Tom Harlan, a no-nonsense man with a drawl and a notepad. "This is sabotage," he said, grim. The county crime unit took the bags, but my cameras missed the trench. A flicker at 3:17 a.m. showed a hooded figure, tall, calculated, dodging my lenses. This wasn't just Karen's tantrum, it was war. I hired Ethan Cole, a private investigator with a soldier's comm. He set up a hidden camera in a neighbor's yard and caught Victor sneaking across my land, his HOA jacket giving him away. Ethan warned me to stay smart. They wanted me to snap. Then the HOA hit harder. A legal notice accused me of unauthorized structures, my gate and cameras, and unregistered livestock, threatening $5,000 daily fines or animal relocation. I clutched the paper, my world spinning, until I heard an SUV rumble up. Karen leaned out, smirking. "You can't win, Jack." I didn't answer, but I was done playing defense. Digging deeper, I uncovered Brightwood Developers' plan, a luxury estate with 40 homes, a golf course, and an airstrip centered on my ranch. My creek was their only water source, and without my land, the project was dead. Ethan found a USB Victor had tossed over my fence, labeled Truth. It held emails between Karen and Brightwood, plotting to escalate against the farmer with sabotage and livestock theft. One read, "Victor's loyal and expendable. He'd been used, and he knew it." He called me, voice trembling. I didn't know they'd go this far. Then he vanished. The town council hearing loomed. I submitted Ethan's evidence, photos, videos, emails, the trench report, and rallied neighbors to pack the hall. Reporters and popcorn-munching locals filled the seats as I walked in with Bella on a leash. Karen, in a red suit, paled at the crowd. I presented my case. The HOA's fence was on my land. Their complaints were a land grab tied to Brightwood. The council projected the emails, gasps rippling through the room. I handed over the deed to the strip. "Their gate's trespassing, not me." The council dismissed the HOA's charges, suspended Karen, and launched an investigation. The crowd clapped, but Ethan warned me Brightwood wasn't done. That night, my power cut out, and a dead chicken lay on my porch, neck snapped. Sheriff Tom logged it, but without porch cameras, evidence was scarce. At the permits office, I found the real prize, an old municipal well under my creek, its water rights still city-owned. Brightwood needed it for their resort, and Karen's contract allowed commercial access if my land went public. I petitioned for the rights, armed with evidence of their fraud. The city granted them to me, locking Brightwood out for good. Karen showed up days later, disguised in sunglasses and a scarf. "You ruined me," she hissed, handing me an envelope of affidavits, her Brightwood shares, an apology. "I'm leaving. Take it." She sped off, dust trailing her defeat. The HOA dissolved, its charter revoked. Karen fled to Nevada, peddling herbal teas online. Victor volunteered at a shelter, mailing me a plaque, "Don't fence what you don't own." Misty came home, found starved but alive on Brightwood land. My harvest that fall was a miracle, tomatoes like rubies, strawberries like jewels. I gave it away, neighbors leaving with baskets in gratitude. At a creekside cookout, with bluegrass and laughter, I raised a glass. Respect your neighbors, that's the only rule that matters. The valley glowed under Cedar Hills, free at last. I kept the gate key by the door, not for use, but as proof. When they lock you out, by the gate. And when you hold the key, you've won.